Hello everyone, welcome to Creative Planning. My name's Michael Purvis. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all feeling okay. Today I wanted to talk about creative planning. It's something that I'm very fortunate now that I get to do a lot of. I work with a lot of different creative people who some have their own way of coming up with their collections and coming up with their ideas, but the majority of us tend to stick to the same pattern about how we come up with our ideas and how we make a mood board and how we end up planning the shoot. And that's what I want to talk to you today about, because I think it's something that's very general, and if you're a beautician or if you're maybe a nail tech or something or a makeup artist, you're still going to get something out of this. You don't just have to be doing hair. So yeah, in saying that though, I didn't want to ramble on for ages. I didn't want to talk loads of information at you. So I've kind of numbed it down to three sort of main points, which is your inspirations, your causation, and your day planning. You know, so it's going to be pretty simple for me to explain, and I really hope you stick around to the end. I wanted to just quickly sort of talk about myself a wee bit first as well, because I think it's important to know that your information is coming from somewhere that, you know, is credible. So my name's Michael Purvis. As I said, I'm a hairdresser predominantly up in Scotland, and yeah, nowadays I'm really fortunate that I get to do a lot of collections and a lot of photographic work for the creatives up here, and I've managed to lead teams on London and Paris fashion weeks, and I've, you know, been featured in a lot of pretty good magazines as well. So yeah, let's dive right in, and hopefully you guys will enjoy. The first thing I wanted to chat about was, you know, inspirations. You hear a lot of people saying, you know, go outside, go for a walk, and you'll find great inspiration. You'll also hear people say, you know, go and look up the trends and take inspiration from the trends. So really what you've got to do is look at, well, I suppose you don't have to do this. You could look at your trends and you could be very current, and you could produce work that's going to be, you know, really cool for that month, for that year. And you know, that's a great way of doing your business. But for me personally, I prefer to look at something that's more classic, more influential, and, you know, it's going to give your collection much more longevity than, you know, if you were just to say, oh well, you know, the color of the month for the year is blue, and that's what we're gonna, you know, we're gonna do the model's hair blue, and we're gonna shoot with a blue backdrop, and, you know, that's cool, but it's not gonna give that collection a lasting impression on people or a lasting longevity. So, you know, as we can see here, this is great. I love this. It's you know, it's the Wizard of Oz, 1939, and it's influencing fashion for a Gucci campaign in 2020. That's amazing, you know. It's almost 100 years of influencing fashion, and you could say, oh well, that's not really like a fashion thing. Well, look how they, you know, you can't tell me that those things are completely different, because they're not. I think it's incredible that, you know, film, music, and print, modern print, are the three things that I really look at, and I love looking at to get inspiration and good inspiration from. So yeah, that's the power of, you know, long-lasting creativity there. David Bowie as well, 1970, I believe that picture is from, and then New York Fashion Week 2017, just after his death, the year after his death, you know, influencing fashion again in a massive way. And he still influences fashion today. He's still an icon. So, you know, the more classic, the more, you know, really well known your inspirations are going to be, the better that collection of yours is going to be as well. I mean, you could go out and go for a walk and look at people's hair and get really inspired by it and everything. But I feel you're always going to be chasing something. You're always going to be looking for something, and copying something. Whereas if you look at film and music and print and things that are very far away from, you know, the actual work that you're doing, you're just going to end up on this journey of finding things very naturally and organically, which I think works way better than forcing yourself to get inspired. So yeah, if another, you know, talking in hair terms here, you know, there was a collection done by Salsoon, and the work they did in, you know, the 80s, the 70s, the 80s and the 90s, that's all still, you know, re-uploaded, reused, it's still looked at, still taken, people take their inspiration from that now. That's incredible, you know, that they've created something so long lasting. So what, you know, definitely, I would say if you're making a project yourself and it's for your salon or it's for a magazine, make it something beautiful and that's going to really last. And find your inspirations in something that you really love as well. Mine right now is old film. I love looking at old films and the way that they did things with puppets and without CGI and things is just really incredible. I'm really enjoying looking at that in lockdown, actually. You can tell that I've been that bored. But yeah, music as well is a massive one. You know, these great pop artists who, and you just need to find the right ones. You need to find the iconic ones, and draw from them, I guess. So yeah, inspirations, massive thing. How would you get this? How would you turn this into causation? So what I would do is I would, you know, find my reason why I'm doing the shoot, get the inspiration where it's, you know, taken from a film, a TV, a print or music. I would then make a mood board, and I tend to only have about 5 or 6 pictures on my mood board. I don't like a really crowded one. This is, again, just preference, but for me, I think if you can tell the story in 3, 4, or 5 images, you're going to have a lot more control than if you just had, you know, 20 images on this board, because your eye just wanders off and you're not leaving any room for creativity. You've planned everything out, and that's never a good thing, to be really stringent. So yeah, I would take, you know, your inspiration, I put into mood board, and this is a shot. The end image here is a shot we did in, I believe it was 2017, 2018 maybe. I think it was 2017. And it was for a salon, and the inspiration was David Bowie, and it was a bit after his death, and he was still very predominant in fashion. People were still using him a lot. And you know, I just loved the idea of using him as a bit of inspiration for a hair shoot, and I think the pictures actually aged really well from then. So, you know, the pictures on your mood board, translating it into your end result, you want to be looking at things like the pose, things like the fashion style, things like the haircut, and, you know, the makeup. I wouldn't make a mood board which has, you know, the lips, the eyes, the foundation, the, you know, which blusher you're going to use, everything marked. I wouldn't do that. I would leave room for creativity, and I'd only have 5 or 6 pictures which were a very, what's the word here? It's a very open to interpretation. In that way, I feel you're going to get the most organic and the most sort of beautiful pictures, I think. Especially because you don't control everything that goes on. You know, I work with a makeup artist, I work with a photographer, and we all need to be on the same page, but we don't want to be telling each other exactly what to do. So whoever is in charge of the shoot will often give you a mood board, and you can interpret that, and you'll only have maybe 2 pictures in it to interpret from it. I love that because it's a lot of trust in someone, and it really makes you feel like you're being creative and you're using your mind. So it's great. I love when things aren't super direct. But you can see here, you know, the jacket that we used is something that Bowie wore when he was a lot younger. And you see, you know, he was always in these military drummer jackets for one point, which were a real good trend back then, and became iconic and became a staple of fashion now. And, you know, this pose at the side here, you know, looking off, I thought was really cool as well. And then the colours, you know, this violet hue, which I really wanted to try and get into the hair and tone a wee bit. I really like this. And then the haircut, you know, I wanted to pull it forward and still have it really messy, but and short at the side, and then just making it a wee bit more current by giving it that fade onto the side. So yeah, interpretation, mood boards are there for. They're not there to say, these are the rules, this is what I want. You'd say that in person maybe, but I wouldn't go making a board with it. So that's causation, you know. And again, you have to think about what this image is being used for. Am I using it for a fashion editorial? Or am I putting this in front of my clients? So you need to understand, where is that picture going? And the last thing, gosh, this is it. The last thing is the day planning. So, you know, you've found your inspirations, you've made your mood board, you've got your team together. I would always try and pick the team after you've come up with your concept. That way you can really look at their work and understand if they're right for it, if they fit what you want to be curating. Hairstylists, for instance, you know, if someone came to me and they wanted a super, you know, short haircuts, really salon, bold haircuts, you know, sharp fringes and, you know, symmetrical everything, that's not me. And they'll probably understand that from looking at my work. If they wanted it beautiful, if they wanted it, you know, editorial, if they wanted it fashion, then they would hopefully come to me, and they would notice the distinction between my work and someone else's. So when you're picking your team, you always want to think about that. You want to think, you know, is this actually the photographer for this job? Is this actually the makeup artist I want? And then once you've got your inspiration, that becomes a lot easier to know, and then you can go and find the right people. So yeah, who, makeup, this is day planning. So you know, figure out, are you shooting in a studio, are you shooting on location, how much time do you have, when are people going to get there? So who, models, this is a shoot on the other side. This is, I think it was Paris Fashion Week 2020 that I'm using as a reference for this day plan, actually. So you've got, you know, who's there, models, makeup, hair, photography. Where is it? New York Place, Paris. And then when is it, you know? When are the model fittings going to happen? When's the makeup going to happen? When's the hair going to happen? When's the actual photography happening? And when's the end? And you could normally have a first lady who's going to keep everyone on track. I mean, you could have as many people on a photo shoot as you want, but this is bare minimum here. So yeah, once you've picked your team, your location is very important, you know. If your team's very experienced and you know what you're doing and it's all going to be very quick, you could book the studios, you could, you know, book out time. But really, ideally, I would always say you want to have all day. You don't want to have a time constraint. This was a show, so this was a fashion show that we were doing on the side here. And we had pretty much 1 hour to do things before they went on, which is a pretty good amount of time, actually. I say to do things. We had about 22 models for each hour, which between 6 of us, I think. So it wasn't bad actually. But the thing is, you need to understand how the day is going to run. You can't just show up and be like, well, I'm doing the hair. If you've planned this shoot, you need to know when the makeup is, when the photography is, and how that day is going to flow. Same if, exact same thing if you're a photographer, if you're the makeup or whatever. You want to have the best idea of how it's going to go down. And what if the result is at the end. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's creative planning in a nutshell. It's finding your inspirations, getting the causation onto the mood board, finding your team, and planning the day out. It's very simple. And I really would encourage, if you are a makeup artist, a hairdresser, start getting into photo shoots. Start just doing things and messaging people that you like on Instagram, or reaching out to people and creating something. It's not all about money to start with. I still do a lot of work for free, and that's just there to boost my profile because I know it's going to be good. And yeah, that's pretty much, this is always how we do it, and it's always the same effect we do each time. So thank you for listening, guys. If you have any questions, you can give me a message on Instagram. It's MP Sessions. That's probably the best place to reach me. I do have a website and that as well, which you can get to from then, or